Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new, if you're not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and today I'm back with another bi-monthly book wrap up. I have read in total 11 books in the past 2 months and I'm very excited to get to them. One of them I was worried almost put me in a reading slump, but in June I read a decent amount of books. Like most of the books in this reading wrap up I read this month. Without further ado, I guess I can only say let's really just get into it. The first book I read in May is The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. You guys know that I've been on the journey of getting through the Kiss Quotient series since I read The Heart Principle back in September, which is the last book in the series. We don't need to get into it. I know I read the last book first, give me a break. But I finally read every book in the series and I liked it. I love this book, just like how I love all the others. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. If you guys don't know what the Kiss Quotient series is about, it's basically about these 3 cousins, relatives, whatever, and their relationships. This book follows Kai and his relationship to a girl, Esme, who Kai's mom basically meets like out of the country, and she's like, hey, you seem perfect for my son Kai, and I would love it if you just flew out, gave him a chance, and like dated him so he can like find someone. And Esme's like and the grandma, the mother was like, I'll pay you. If you don't end up liking it, I'll end up paying you. If you want to fly back home, I'll end up paying it. It's all expenses paid. I just want you to meet my son so he can find some type of companion. And if you don't end up liking it, then you're all good financially. And because she's desperate for money, because she has a daughter and her family's not that well off, she does it. Her and Kai are so cute. Kai is very funny. He doesn't mean to be funny, but he is. There's at least one autistic main lead. In this book, Kai is autistic and Esme doesn't know it throughout the book, so she's very confused as to how he reacts to things and communicates, which is something I really appreciate about this series, is the autistic leads and how Helen Hoang doesn't shadow away from like what may be considered as stigmas against or about autistic people. I really like how she touches on those kind of subjects. Every book that Helen Hoang has made in this series so far has been phenomenal, and I can say that I have enjoyed every single one now that I am done with the series. And they're very bingeable. Like I read this in I think 2 days. It took everything in me not to read it in one sitting. It took everything in me. I remember like reading it through the night. That was like the first time in months when I actually stayed up at night to read a book. It was just so good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna reread this series at some point this year, but this time in order. 4 out of 5 stars. Is it my favorite one? No, I think The Heart Principle is still my favorite one. If I were to rank each book, this one will probably be my last one. Heart Principle, Kiss Quotient, and then The Bride Test, but I love them all. Next book that I read was actually a manga. Let's talk about Orange. I read Orange the Complete Collection by Ichigo Takano and I had a really good time. Is this my first manga? I think this is my first manga that I've ever read, and it was kind of traumatizing because I didn't know. I knew what I was getting into, but I didn't know what I was getting into. I was kind of unprepared, but I had a very good time. If you guys don't know what this book is about, basically the main character Naho gets a letter from her future self, and the letter is basically like, hey, this new kid Kakeru, you need to watch out for him, like befriend him, be nice to him. And she gets new letters like I think every week or something like that, and they're basically telling her what not to do and what to do if this happens, because her future self has lived through it and she's trying to make sure that Naho doesn't live through the mistakes that she's made with this person Kakeru. I feel like this is a very popular manga, so most people probably know about it, but I don't want to spoil it for you. But it gets really deep and sad and kind of introspective. I was reading this around the time Multiverse of Madness came out, so it really delved into like the whole multiverse topic a lot, and like how if you make one mistake in this universe, is it going to affect the one that you make in this universe? If you end up changing that, then is it going to affect your future self? All that kind of stuff, and I find that topic really interesting, so I really like how the author delved into that. Naho was very aware of everything that she did, and she didn't want to affect her future self along the way, but also her future self was telling her to make different decisions that she did So she was it was interesting. It was very, very interesting. I liked the friend group. I thought that they were very, very funny. I liked Kakeru. My heart. Oh, I love Kakeru so much. I think he's a sweetheart. I want him and Naho to be together, but I don't know. Like I said, I read the complete collection. This is the first one. I have yet to read the second one. I'm gonna buy it eventually, but I'm on a book buying ban, kinda, sorta, trying to be. So I'm not impulse buying as much as I was last year, but I really want to continue this. I want to finish it because the series left off on kind of like a cliffhanger of sorts, and it's been having me up all night for like 2 months. I need to continue this series. I gave it 4.5 stars. I loved it. I think that the author did a really good job with the illustrations as well, because Ichigo Takano also does the illustrations along with writing the book. 4.5 stars. Read it. Orange. Really, really good. The next book that I read is arguably the one that put me almost in a reading slump, and a deeper reading slump than I already was this year. Let's talk about Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is one of the books that I mentioned that I wanted to read this year, and I think my 22 books I want to read in 2022 book video that I made back in December. Look at me sticking to what I say for once. That's crazy. I started this book in February. I didn't finish it until May. So there you have it. It just took a very long time. I mean, granted, the book is this thick, but also I have mixed feelings about the book overall. For one, as you can see, I started annotating and tabbing it because one of the things that I said that I wanted to do this year when it comes to reading is like annotating. I just want to see how I would do with that, like if I would like it or not. And I feel like for this to be the first book that I annotate this year, it was you know, it was a leap. I will say I kind of just dove right into the deep end trying to annotate this dictionary. I don't know why I did that to myself, and I think the fact that I was annotating it while reading it took me out of the story and made me not want to read it. So I remember not reading this book all throughout March. As you can see, I didn't even get halfway through the annotating process. I think once I got like a fourth into the book, I just stopped because I was like, this is like too much. I'm taking a lot of information, but I'm not actually processing any of the information, although I'm annotating it. Like, it was very weird for me. I just stopped reading it midway, and then I picked it back up by the end of the semester in May, and I dedicated like 2 weeks in May reading it and finishing it. And those 2 weeks I did not annotate because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna finish this book if I keep annotating. So yeah, that's that. Thoughts overall about the book. Oh, I didn't even explain what it's about. My bad. I don't know how to explain it, really. Like, I'm trying to remember everything that I read in this book, and it's big, it's hefty. I'm gonna read you the synopsis here. A world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. The house of Berethnet has ruled Innis for 1,000 years. Still unwed, Queen Sabrinth IX must conceive a daughter to protect her realm from destruction, but assassins are getting closer. Eid Durian is an outsider at court. Though she has risen to the power of lady-in-waiting, she is loyal to a hidden mage society. Eid keeps a watchful eye on Sabrinth, secretly protecting her with forbidden magic. Across the sea, Tane has trained all her life to be a dragon rider, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. Meanwhile, the divided East and West refuse to parley, and forces of chaos are rising from their sleep. That's the summarized version of the summary, because the summary itself is like this long, and I don't feel like doing that to you guys. So my thoughts overall, I feel like this book needed more dragons. Personally, like, the reason why I was so interested in this book was, one, the cover. Hello, a big ass dragon. You think that most of the book would consist of dragons, but that's just not the case. I felt like there needed to be more dragons. I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars, not only just because of the dragon thing, but also because I feel like the way that the author Samantha Shannon was splitting up POVs in the book was kind of weird. I felt like there didn't need to be as many different POVs as there was, because in this book we follow, I think, 4 different characters, and I'm not gonna lie, one of them was not needed. One of them did not need to be a main character in this book, because even by the end of the book I was like, this person didn't really do much, so why am I following in their point of view? Not only that, but their point of view wasn't even really that interesting. And I'm not gonna say which character it is, because I know this is a popular book and everyone kind of loves the characters, but I genuinely feel like If it stuck to like 3 main characters, the 3 main characters that I cared about, then I would have liked it a lot more. Some characters' POVs mattered, some didn't, and I just don't know why the author wanted to shed some light on what's going on with them when some are obviously more important than others. I thought that the ending was a lot, not gonna lie. When I got to the final battle scene, I kind of skimmed through the ending. I was like, I'm so close to the end, let me just like, usually when it comes to final battle scenes, I really do, I skim. I'm sorry, I know that it's like what you've been waiting for, what all the buildup is for, but for me, I just want to make sure that my faves are okay. And I don't really care about the clashing of swords or like which person is fighting who. I just want to make sure that my favorite characters are okay, and for the most part they were, so I'm fine with anything that went on in that battle. I also like the romance. It was very gay, as expected. I read it because I heard that it was a lesbian relationship in here, and that is very true. Kind of forbidden love, so if you're into that, that's also what kept me hooked in this book. I really liked the forbidden love stuff going on. It was really nice. Okay, next series that I read kind of right after reading Priory of the Orange Tree was the Dreamland Billionaire series. I was not planning on reading this. Not because I didn't want to, but because like it just wasn't on my radar. But I was scared that the Priory of the Orange Tree was gonna put me in a reading slump, so I read anything that was like pushed in my face. And at the time, Book Talk was really talking about this. I'm pretty sure it's still a pretty popular Book Talk series, so of course my brand, I read it. I read the first 2 books. The 3rd book isn't out yet, but I will be checking for the 3rd book because I did enjoy the first 2 books. The series follow 3 brothers that have inherited this Disney World, Disneyland-esque type of amusement park that their grandpa has built up for decades, and in order to actually get it, like get what they've inherited, they have to follow like these like kind of guidelines that their grandpa has left for them. So each brother has to follow what their grandpa wrote for them in their books, and they all have to do with like some type of love interest that they have. I gave the first book 4 stars, and I gave the second book 5 stars. Yeah, I read the first book in 1 day, and I read the second book in 2 days. I favor the second book a little bit more because black lead, hello. I was surprised that there was like a black main character, girl, in the second book. Not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that, but made it so much better. So good. But they follow the same tropes when it comes to the guys. The guys are grumpy and they literally hate everyone. Like, it's not a joke, it's not a game. They really don't like anyone except for their partners, which I found funny. I'm gonna wait till like actually rate the series when the 3rd book comes out, because I will be reading the 3rd book because it's about the brother that I'm kind of interested in. I'm very interested in the 3rd brother, and of course the one that I'm interested the most, his book isn't out yet. So, but yeah, if you want like a quick, cute, fun romance series, I suggest the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. Next book I read in June, the Blackout book novel by multiple authors, multiple famous authors: Danielle Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. This is a collection of stories that these very famous popular authors wrote. I think this book was published back in 2020. The stories take place around the same time. It is in New York, I think Brooklyn specifically, and a whole blackout has taken over. Like the lights, electricity, everything is out in the town, and there are 6 couples that the story is centered around, and each author writes about a different couple and what they're going through while the blackout is happening. And very cute, very wholesome. I absolutely adored this book. I liked every single story. I wasn't expecting that. It makes me want to read more books from these authors, because I remember in my 22 books I want to read in 2022, I put that I want to read The Hate You Get by Angie Thomas. And now I really want to read that now, because her short story was the one that I loved the most. It was so freaking good. Every character, so good. And I like how each story flowed well together, like how each story is kind of connected in some way, but not really. Like how they're each own independent stories. I love that a lot. Yeah, I liked it. 5 out of 5 stars. It's very short. It's like under 300 pages. I read this in a day as well. Very, very good. Yes. Next series I read is also a romance series, the Twisted Love series by Anna Huang. Again, book talk led me to this. One of my book talk mutuals, she kept on talking about this series because apparently the third book comes out as of the day I'm recording this. It comes out today, and so she was like building up the hype for it, not on purpose but like by accident, because she really loves the books. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna read them. I read them not thinking I would love them that much, but I did. I remember picking up the first book months ago and then DNFing it because I was like, absolutely not. And I ended up picking it up again, and now I've read all 3 books, and I'm gonna read the 4th book today after I'm done recording this video. 4 group of girls, they're best friends, and each book is following their own different love story and what they're going through, and it's very, very good. I gave Twisted Love 4 stars. You're gonna notice that like these books have like really alpha male characters, and it kind of ruined the vibe, but like not in the worst way possible, obviously, because I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So I had a pretty good time. I read each of these books I think a day, so I was very invested. Twisted Games I gave a 4.5. That one is my favorite. As a forbidden love bodyguard princess trope. Oh, it's so good. I think that's the first book I've read with that trope. Actually, no, that's a lie. That's a lie, because Priory of the Orange Tree also has that trope. So I was eating really good. That might be one of my favorite tropes, and I discovered it within the past 2 months, so that's great. Twisted Hate I gave 4 stars. It's my second favorite. So if I were to rate these books overall, it'd be like 4 stars maybe, I think. And if I were to rank the books, I'd say Twisted Games number 1, Twisted Hate number 2, and then Twisted Love number 3. But my rankings might change depending on how I feel about the 4th book, which, like I said, I will be reading after this. So yeah, if you're into like the alpha male possessive type books, kind of toxic relationship, but like some of the books in the series are more toxic than others. The first book specifically, I was like, there's a lot happening here that I just don't agree with. I'd say like my favorite love interest in the series is probably the one in the 3rd book. I think I like him because he's the least annoying out of all the guys in the series in my opinion. But Twisted Games, oh, it was so good. Like I could talk about, this series has been my obsession for the past week. It's actually really bad. Like I've been waiting for today to get the 4th book, because I feel like once I read the 4th book, this phase in my life will be complete, because I've just been thinking about these characters for the past week. It's really bad. The Twisted Love series by Anna Huang, like I said, gave it 4.5 stars overall. Decent series, very quick and easy to get through, and yeah, the 4th book came out today, so if you want to start it, the series is complete now. I think, I'm pretty sure it's the last book. I'm hoping it is. I don't need this taking over my life anymore. I want this to be over for me. So next book that I'm going to be talking about is Wild Sea Witch by Marty Dumas. I read this, I think, in the middle of me reading the Twisted Love series. So I was like reading this while I was reading those back to back as like a palate cleanser. This is, I think, the first middle grade book I've read this year. I had a pretty decent time with it. It's about this girl, Hassani. She finds out that she has these magical abilities, and so she's taken to this school and she learns how to be a witch and how that affects her and her identity. This is the arc for it. I don't have the published copy. I kind of want to get the published one. I enjoyed this book overall. I liked Hassani as a character. I thought that she was very cute. I thought that the book overall, plot-wise, needs a little bit of work. Like I said, this isn't the published version. This is just the arc. So I don't know how much was changed by the time that the published copy came out. Probably a decent amount. So I feel weird having to rate it off of the arc, but yeah, I liked it. It's nothing. I gave it 3 stars. So I enjoyed myself. I feel like the reason I liked it though was because of the characters and not so much of the story itself. I feel like the climax of the book and the ending, it was just wrapped up very odd to me. I feel like the progression of Hassani as a character was really good though. Like her characterization was very top tier. She's kind of what kept me reading the book, because I just wanted to make sure that she was okay. It has officially been published. I'm pretty sure this came out a month ago, back in May. I just got the arc a while ago and I didn't read it until after the publishing date, like I do for most arcs, because I suck at reading books when I should. That's besides the point. It's really good. Read it. Really cute middle grade, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a series, so I'm going to continue the series because feel like the way that the book wrapped up, there's many things that need to be concluded. There's many things that need to be explained for sure. So yeah, last book on this list that I actually read today. I rushed to read this book because I wanted to include it in this video so badly. Savvy Sheldon Feels Good as Hell by Taj McCoy. This right here, oh, I thought Twisted Love was my new obsession. No, this book is so freaking good. I don't know why I put off reading it this long. As you can see, this is also the arc. I got this book a while ago. I think it came out back in March. There's no reason why I should have put it off this long. This is about Savvy, who just got out of a breakup, and the guy who broke up with her was very rude and disrespectful, and Savvy is just like, you know what, I'm trying to get my groove back. And so she's doing everything she can to better herself for herself, trying to find self-love and discover who she is now that she's out of a relationship that she's been in for years. And along the way, she meets this really hot contractor who fixes her house and her kitchen, and it's just really, really good. It's so good. This actually gave me the vibes of the HBO series Insecure, you know, the one with Issa Rae. It gave me those vibes, and I was having a great time. I was laughing, I was vibing. It was fun. This book was so fun. It's 5 stars, and I think everyone should read it. It's categorized as a romance, and I get it because the guy who's in it, like, he's in a majority of the book, but it's not like really about the romance. It's really about self-care and trying to really better yourself as a person for yourself. Like, Savvy's journey of self-love is so freaking relatable that I kind of cried. The way that she described herself and how she sees herself versus how other people see her, and how she wants to be and why she's pushing to be this person. I felt that and I understood it, and so this might be one of my favorite books of the year because of how much I relate to it personally. Just trying to like help everyone all the time without realizing that you need to help yourself first and put yourself first sometimes. It's a really big thing that I also go through, that I really kind of projected onto Savvy, but also not really, because that's something big that she realizes in the book as well. So yeah, Savvy Sheldon Feels Good as Hell by Taj McCoy. Really good. I'm pretty sure this is the author's debut novel, so I'm definitely going to be reading some stuff from her later on in the future, because this was just too excellent. I really felt like I was watching an episode of Insecure. Like, it was that good. If you guys haven't watched Insecure, it's a really good show. It's a top tier show by Issa Rae. Go watch it, read the book, and then go watch Insecure. That's it for this video. Yeah, those were all the books that I read in May and June. If you enjoyed this video, thank you. If you'd like to follow me on social media to talk about all the books I read or recommend me more books, here's my Twitter. I mostly interact on Twitter, but if you'd like to follow me on all my other social medias, they will be linked in the description below. And yeah, I think that's it. We'll see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.